Brazil is the largest country in South America and the fifth largest country in the world with a population of 213 million inhabitants and a territory occupying 47% of the entire continent. It borders all Latin American countries except Chile and Ecuador. The official language in the country is Portuguese, because in the era of colonization, Portugal was the most influential in these lands. In the different regions of its vast territory, you can encounter equatorial, monsoon, subtropical, desert, savanna, Mediterranean and humid subtropical climates, but in most of the country the tropical climate prevails. The main part of the Brazilian population originates from the indigenous population of the country before the era of colonization. These are, of course, the Indians, who are the original inhabitants of the American continent. Besides the native Brazilians, there are a large number of people of Portuguese descent who settled the country after Portugal declared the territory as its colony, as well as many people of African descent who are descendants of African slaves brought here by the colonizers. If you visit the country, you will see a really great racial diversity of whites, Africans, Asians, Indians, and mulattoes. In addition to the fact that the Europeans destroyed a large part of the Indian population by bringing diseases not seen before on the continent, after Brazil was colonized, the colonizers' next step was to transport thousands of slaves from Africa. The cruelty and degrading treatment of the masters prompted the slaves to seek ways of escape, and even in 1630 a small group rose up against their masters, and the slaves subsequently escaped into the nearby jungle and established a small settlement called Colombo, which existed until 1694 when it was mercilessly destroyed. This is also the reason why today a large number of people of African descent live on Brazilian lands, as well as the fact that Brazil was the last country to prohibit slavery. There is no official religion in Brazil, but according to the data, the largest Catholic community in the world is precisely in Brazil. 63% of the population belongs to the Roman Catholic Church. According to statistics, most Brazilians believe in the existence of God, but in recent years they, like most of the world, have become increasingly irreligious. If we have to compare with most European countries, however, we can easily define Brazilians as a religious nation. Although the country has the largest economy in South America, the Brazilian people cannot boast of a very good quality of life. The average wage is between $500 and $600, which in Brazilian bullet means about 3,000 Brazilian reals, and the minimum wage is about $230 or 1,200 reals. It is one of the most unequal countries in the world in terms of income distribution. There are either extremely poor or very rich people in the country, and according to statistics, 7 people have wealth equal to the wealth of 100 million Brazilians. Unfortunately, almost 50% of the population earns around $50 a month, while there are 10% who are very rich and 40% who earn between $400 and $600 a month. It is interesting that against the background of such poor statistics, the economy of the city of São Paulo is better than many economies of small developed countries. It is one of the most important economic and industrial centers in the world and is the city with the largest gross domestic product in the southern hemisphere. Besides being rich and developed, São Paulo is also one of the places with the worst and busiest traffic in the world. In November 2013, a traffic jam of 309 kilometers put the city in the Guinness World Records. For this reason, usually businessmen as well as politicians use the helicopter as a means of transportation, and there are over 500 helicopters in the city. The country also has a major housing problem, with over 1 million Brazilians either homeless or living in overcrowded housing in very poor conditions. According to statistics, in order to deal with the housing problem, the country needs to build 8 million new homes. In recent years, in the metropolis of Rio de Janeiro, the rate of homeless people has increased by a terrifying 150%. The country is full of ghettos, called favelas, where homeless citizens build houses illegally. Favelas are places where extremely poor and uneducated people live, with a very high crime rate. According to the data, even the Brazilian police avoid entering these ghettos, and tourists often find a local to show them around the ghetto, otherwise they are harassed, robbed or even killed. Although the population struggles with the problems I've picked out for you, the people here are far from miserable. Brazilians are very cheerful and friendly people. Regardless of their social status, they somehow manage to stay positive and love music and dancing. According to tourists who have visited the country, the time a Brazilian can consider you a friend is a few minutes. They will quickly invite you into their home and host you or offer to treat you to something at a nearby cafe or restaurant. By the way, since we are talking about coffee, I want to add that Brazil is the largest exporter of coffee in the world with 40% of the world share. Brazil is the biggest proof that wealth does not always equal happiness. Despite the difficult conditions in which Brazilians live, they manage to remain happy and positive. There is probably no person who has not heard of the great festivals organized in the country, such as the Carnival in Rio, organized every year in February or March. It is the largest carnival in the world and even in 2004 entered the Guinness World Records. If you visit the country during these months, you must visit Rio to enjoy the crazy dances and amazing costumes of the Brazilians. Be sure that you will have a great time and it will remain an unforgettable memory in your life. Apart from music and dancing, the other big passion here is football. Rest assured that every single Brazilian is interested in football, and the country has given the world some of the greatest footballers in history, such as the king of football Pelé, who passed away a few months ago. Ronaldo Nazario, Romario, Garrincha, Socrates, Roberto Carlos, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, and many more. In addition, the country is the only 5-time soccer world champion. If you are interested in this sport, you probably know that in every major football forum, the Brazilians are favorites regardless of their temporary form and the state of the team. That was the last fact of the ranking. I hope you had fun. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because there will be many more videos like this. I'll see you soon.